All right, let's talk about mastering ServiceNow's Automated Test Framework, or ATF as you know it. We're going to dive deep and turn some good ideas into your everyday go-to practices.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the basics. When should you even use ATF? Then we'll get into designing and implementing your tests the right way. After that, we'll cover some really cool advanced stuff like security and dynamic selection. And we'll wrap it all up with some pro tips for executing your tests flawlessly.
First up, let's get this straight. ATF is a fantastic tool, but it's not a magic hammer for every nail. We've got to know exactly what its job is, and, just as importantly, what it's not.
Okay, so here's where ATF is in its element. Functional testing, making sure your business logic actually works. Browser compatibility testing, absolutely. And of course, regression testing, making sure your latest upgrade didn't just break everything. Now, on the flip side, please do not use it for performance or load testing. It's not built for that. And here is the golden rule, the one you never ever break. You do not run ATF in your production instance, period.
So, now that we know when to use ATF, let's dig into the how. And that brings us to what I think is the most critical phase, the design. A little bit of planning here goes a very, very long way.
Before you even think about writing a single test, you got to get your team together and ask some key questions. How deep are we going with these tests? Who's going to own them and keep them up to date when the platform changes? And hey, what's our plan for tracking the stuff that we just can't test with ATF? Answering these questions up front is how you build a strategy that actually lasts.
And while you're designing, live by the KISS principle. Keep it short and simple. Seriously, smaller, focused tests are way better because they pinpoint failures immediately. A test stops at the first thing that breaks, so smaller tests find more bugs. And think about speed. UI steps are slow. Test a feature in the UI once, then use faster server-side steps if you need to repeat it. Most importantly, test the outcome, the functionality, not just that some data is set up a certain way. Does the process work? That's the real question.
So, you've got that solid design in hand, right? Awesome. Now you're ready to start building. Let's do this.
Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. I'm going to share some real pro tips here that'll make your tests more effective, easier to reuse, and honestly, just save you a ton of time down the line.
If you want to work smart, you have to think reusability. Stop using that generic run server-side script step for everything. Instead, start creating custom step configurations. Think of them like your own personal Lego blocks. When you package up common actions, you're not just avoiding duplicate code, you're building a library of safe, reliable actions that even your junior folks can use to build really powerful tests. That's how you scale.
All right, let's lock in 3 habits that will save you so many headaches. Number 1, always, and I mean always, start your tests by creating a new user, and then impersonating them. This makes sure your test runs with the right permissions, not as you. 2, after any record update step, immediately follow it with the record validation step. Why? Because the update can look like it passed but actually get blocked by a data policy. You have to explicitly check. And 3, use record queries to create your variables. If you need the same sysid in a bunch of different steps, this will make your life so much easier when you have to update it later.
Okay, let's level up. We're going to get into 2 really powerful features that can be a little confusing at first, but they offer huge benefits once you get them right. We're talking security enforcement and dynamic record selection.
You need to pay very close attention to this little Enforce Security checkbox. It's on by default, which means your test steps will respect all your platform security rules, your access controls, your ACLs. And most of the time, that's exactly what you want. But what if you're testing a process where a user shouldn't be able to do something? Or what if you need to set up some data with admin rights before the real test starts? That's when you uncheck it. Understanding this little box is absolutely key to avoiding false negatives and, frankly, a lot of frustration.
Now this is a total game changer. Instead of hard-coding a specific user or a specific group into your test, use dynamic selection. Let the test find a record that meets your criteria when it runs. This makes your tests way more portable. No more broken references when you migrate them. It also adds a bit of randomness, which is actually a good thing. It can help you find those weird, unexpected bugs, like a workflow that only breaks when a user doesn't have a manager assigned.
Okay, so you've designed and built some really powerful tests. Now, let's talk about the final step, running and organizing them with a bit of finesse.
Want to get your results faster? Of course you do. First, set your screenshot mode to enable for failed steps only. Trust me, this dramatically speeds up your client-side tests. Next, if you can, run your test suites in parallel. And this is the big one. Always validate your entire test library before you do a major platform upgrade. I mean, that's the whole reason you built them in the first place, right?
And this right here, it might seem like a small thing, but it's a huge quality of life improvement. Don't sleep on organization. Adopting a clear, consistent naming convention for your tests and suites makes everything so much easier to find and understand. A simple standard like application, what it does, will save everyone on your team a ton of time.
So as you can see, ATF isn't just some tool you run every once in a while. It's a whole strategy for making sure your platform stays healthy and reliable as it grows and changes. And that really leaves us with one final critical question to think about. Your platform is always evolving. Is your testing strategy ready to keep up?